Hey there, I'm Grace.
And I'm Amelia.
And welcome to the Women Invest in Real Estate podcast, where we talk about getting started in real estate, scaling, and we give you the inside scoop about our day-to-days as full-time investors. Have you thought about joining the community? We've created a membership for female aspiring and existing real estate investors. Included is a monthly masterclass from an industry expert, a monthly live Q&A with Amelia and I, and a community dashboard for networking and asking questions. Sign up at womeninvestinrealestate.com/the-community.
Hey, everybody. Welcome back to episode 17 of the Women Invest in Real Estate podcast. Today, we are going to be talking about how you can make your midterm rental stand out in a saturated market. This is such a great question because as the midterm rental market starts to get more fierce for competition, it's really important to make sure that your listing is standing out so that you can still get those bookings.
This is going to be a good episode with a lot of good tidbits.
Numero uno is to post great photos. Grace and I are both guilty of
My photos are terrible.
Not following this rule because we don't invest. Our midterm rentals are not in overly saturated markets. However, if you're in a super saturated market like Dallas, San Diego, some of those, you need to be spending that $200 extra on a professional photographer. It is worth it 1,000 times over to pay that amount.
And if you do use your unit a little bit for short-term rental, the photos are even more important on that end. So then you can just reuse them. But I agree. I went and looked at how many listings are in my area. 35.
Yeah, that's like nothing.
So I don't have to spend the $200 because remember, it's all supply and demand. But I mean, we were just looking at Dallas last night and what was it? It was like 600.
500.
Yeah. So you do have to stand out.
Right. I mean, there's a million people in Dallas, but still at the same time, there's way more competition. If you are going to take photos with your cell phone, make sure you take it in landscape. Make sure that your finger's not in the picture. You take it from the corner of the room. And then once you're done, you edit it so that you make the brightness all the way up to the top so that the photos look really bright, because nothing says like don't rent me more than dingy crappy photos with your finger in the corner.
And another thing that's kind of a little tidbit is take pictures of the insides of the closet and the laundry situation and maybe inside some of the drawers or pantries, because when people see that, then they don't ask you, hey, is there laundry? Even though it already says it in the listing, but when they can see it, it cuts down on those questions.
That's a good tip on like the kitchen too. Like take a picture of all the supplies, take a picture of all the drawers with the silverware that's included, the pots and pans, all of that, because that fends off those questions ahead of time, because people will ask, does it include everything in the kitchen, blah, blah, blah. Even if your description says it, put it in your photos.
Yeah. So number 2, this is a big one that I have completely changed my stance on, is accept pets. It is mind-blowing how many people travel with their pets. I would say 75% of my travel nurses have pets. What about you, Amelia?
Oh, that's probably because you actively accept them now. So my listings say no pets, but if no, that's not true. Some of them say pets are accepted, some say not, but I would say like 35 to 40% have pets. So not as high. Some of my listings don't say that I accept pets. So like two that have carpet say no pets just because it's harder to clean. But yeah, I get lots of inquiries for the ones that do accept pets, but I'm usually booked up, so I can't always accept them. So
I think that travel nursing is a little bit lonely. So people want to bring their cats and their dogs and whatever it is. So I charge $50 a month per pet and an extra $200 for a deposit. And this makes me stay in demand and make a little bit more money. And it keeps the nurses happy because they pay for what they want, which is pets.
Absolutely. People spend a lot of money on their pets. People are willing to pay that extra $50 a month to have it. And it's a security system too for people. If they bring a dog with them, they're a woman traveling alone. It brings a sense of security to them as well.
Yeah. And if you're nervous about pets, you can get more detailed with what you do and don't accept. I know people who will accept certain ages, certain breeds, declawed, like not puppies. You can do whatever you want.
Yep, exactly. So you would take your regular deposit plus you would take a pet deposit. And then if there's damage, hopefully that's enough to cover it. If not,
Yeah.
you would obviously charge the tenant for that. But almost all of my tenants who do travel with pets, they have been no problem.
Mm-hmm.
So, okay, the third is if your unit doesn't already have in-unit laundry and you're in a really saturated market, it could make sense to pay to upgrade to have in-unit laundry added if there's a space for it somewhere in your unit.
I agree 100%. All of mine have laundry access in some way, shape, or form.
Yeah, because these travelers, nurses specifically, they're working really long shifts. They don't want to have to go and sit in a laundromat to do their laundry. They really want easy access. And if they're working, they have to do laundry a lot because they're not reusing scrubs. You wear
Right.
scrubs once and then you have to wash it. Me, I wear my clothes 1,000 times before I wash them. My jeans, I don't know the last time these got washed. But nurses, they have to wash laundry very often. So super important.
And I would also add that long-term tenant, mid-term tenant, whatever, the first amenity people look for is laundry. That's like the first thing. So have it. But
Yep.
again, if you don't have it and your market is not demanding that you have it, don't go and spend thousands of dollars adding it. This is if you are trying to stand out, you're in a saturated market, you're in a big market. So number 4 is add a security system. Most travelers are women and most travel alone. I would say probably 80% of my travelers have been women. How about you, Amelia?
Actually, mine's less.
Yours is
Again,
a lot
it's
less because you're in
crazy.
a bigger area.
Yeah, it's crazy because I've had a decent amount of like construction type
Yeah,
workers.
I don't get that.
Yeah, probably 50-50 actually. But
Okay.
still, I would say that even if, that 50% men or women would love to have a security
Oh, yeah.
system.
Especially in a
Especially,
bigger city.
I was just going to say, if you're in a saturated market, it probably means you're in a big city, which means that security system might be more necessary. So,
Absolutely. And it's going to make them feel good. I've even had a few travel nurses like bring their own little, like, I don't even know what they are, but little bits of security systems. So if I ever wanted to go and above and beyond, that would be one of the first things I would do is adding security.
yeah, and another benefit of adding security is sometimes insurance companies will actually give you a discount if you have a security system. So that could be something to ask your insurance agent about if you are thinking about getting a security system installed.
Absolutely.
Okay, the next one is make those small updates that aren't going to cost a lot of money, but are going to make a pretty big difference. So, for example, switch out all the faucets in the kitchens and the bathrooms to something a little more updated. It completely can change the look of a bathroom. Grace, I know you did that in some of your midterm rentals. And it's crazy what a difference it made. It really made it look nice. Cabinet hardware in the kitchen on, the cabinet poles. If you have off-white or ugly outlet covers or switch plates for light
That's
switches.
a huge pet peeve of mine. I hate yellow
I
switches.
know. Update them to white. Make it, it really makes the space look a lot more updated. And another one would be to update outdated light fixtures. And if they're in bedrooms, I would add a ceiling fan. I know that's a huge benefit. A lot of people like to sleep with a fan on. So that's just one more thing that doesn't cost a ton of money, but can help your unit stand out a little bit more above the competition.
Yep, that's a good tip. The next tip is to focus on the bathroom and kitchen. This is the same with rehabbing, flipping. Your big visual points are your bath and kitchen, and that's where you want to spend the money and focus on. So if you make those cute and cozy, like Amelia said, add those small updates, it can go a long ways.
The next one is to create some sort of an inviting outdoor space if you have the room. I think this is a big one. I think this really does actually go a long way in making your unit stand out. Because if you think about it, these travelers, mostly traveling nurses, are working inside all day long. They are in the hospital for 12-hour shifts. And I don't know about you, but I know Grace. We love to be outside. We sit outside on our porches and work
all the time.
Sit outside and have coffee in the morning. Sit outside at night and have a glass of beer or a glass of wine, whatever. It's so nice to have just that little outdoor space where you can spend time.
Yep. And it doesn't have to be fancy. You can
No.
get some simple furniture to sit out there and it will
Throw
go
up
a long
some,
ways.
yeah, throw up some string lights, make it look cute. That costs like what, $50 for string lights? Just make a
Yeah.
little area out there and boom, there you go.
Mm-hmm. The last tip that we have for you, actually, just kidding, I lied. Second to last tip is write a detailed description that sets the mood. So the more that you can add into the description, hopefully, the less questions people are asking you, which cuts down on your management time. But also, setting the mood can really help somebody understand what that property is going to be like, manage their expectations, and draw them in.
Yeah, and kind of what we mean by that is, okay, so say it has an outdoor space. Write something in the description like, enjoy your coffee outside on our shaded patio in the mornings and evenings, or whatever. So it sets the mood, it helps them envision what it's going to look like to live there. You do the same thing for short-term rentals, so it's kind of borrowing that idea from there, but it's super helpful to make your listing stand out from the others that have a 3-sentence listing description that gives the bare minimum of information.
I think in general, I hate when I go to like Zillow and there's a listing for something for sale and there's no description. I hate that. So like whatever it is you do in life, whether you're selling something on Facebook Marketplace or a rental or a house, make a nice description because again, that's going to invite people in and cut down on questions.
Definitely. And we try our hardest to get questions answered ahead of time before they even contact us because it's so tedious to be going back and forth with tenants all the time, every time you have a turnover or an open unit, answering all those questions. So as much as you can cut down on that as possible is definitely the way to go. Okay, the last one is make the barrier to entry low for these tenants. And what we mean by that is make the application process easy and the deposit process simple. Be very responsive and timely when you're communicating with them. Don't make them wait a day or two to get a response because by that time they're already moving on to the next. These nurses specifically, they're only getting their contracts 2-3 weeks in advance right now, so they don't have time to sit around and wait for you to respond. They're already on to the next, asking if that unit's available. So
100%. I think that if you are replying quickly to tenants, keep it under 24 hours because that's a money-making activity. Replying to tenants and securing somebody is cutting down on your vacancy and securing that income. That is one of the most important things that you can do in your business. And I have had tenants who've told me before, like, it is so hard to get people to reply on Furnished Finder. So make sure you're replying super quickly because again, this should be one of your number one priorities. This is the money-making activity, so focus on it.
Yeah, and actually what I do, because I find the messaging system on Furnished Finder to be a little bit clunky, it can sometimes glitch out, I've actually found, which may be why some of these tenants aren't getting responses back. So if they list an email or a phone number, which most of them do, I'll text them and email them.
Same.
And get a hold of them that way and take it off the platform because it's so much quicker and less clunky.
Agreed.
Okay, well, those were our tips for making your midterm rental stand out in a saturated market. We hope that helps. If you had any other questions for us, feel free to DM us on Instagram. It's at WIIRE.community, and we would love to answer them in an upcoming episode.
Thanks for listening.
Thanks so much for tuning in. If you loved today's episode, please leave us a 5-star review wherever you listen to your podcasts. And don't forget to check us out and join our community at womeninvestinrealestate.com and follow us on Instagram at WIIRE.community.